Hello, I'm Kevin Tame, and this is The Hacktivist, and welcome to Reflections. Today I'm going to be working once again on the CI Moons deck that Jonas helped me pilot the other day. So, in this match, I'm going to be facing against Steve Cambridge, and it's a pretty good match. I make some actually big errors, I think, and I kind of got lucky to win this. So I want to call out some of those errors that I make and why I think they were really big errors. So let's go ahead and get started. So this hand seems pretty good to keep because I want to, I have the turtlebacks, which is really good. I have a clearance, and I also have Enigma. And so what I do here is I want to put out the turtles and the advanced assembly lines, and then I'm going to just use the violet level. The reason I don't res here is because I want him to go and check things, and I don't want to give him information quite yet. I was a little surprised to see the Veskin investment seminars, so that did throw me off a little bit, but at the same time I was kind of happy because I was like, oh, this gives me a lot of more stuff that I can install. Employee Strike, I didn't realize this is what he would be on, but it's kind of obvious. It seems like a really good thing, especially with Fisk and CI being so prevalent. So this turn, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set up for a Moons play, and I have enough stuff and I want to get as many things out of my hand. I'm going to have to pitch some stuff because I can't actually install enough things. And so I blindly install that successful field test because he hasn't really been checking my stuff. And so I'm hoping that he will run this Moons and hit this Enigma and then get bounced back and lose a click. And then potentially I can score it out when I find a Jeeves or some other way. It was a risky play, but he hadn't been checking yet, so it seemed okay. I also do have this clones to be able to clear out this employee strike, but I really want to hold on to it, so I debated quite a bit if I should play it just to clear it, but since he is drawing so hard, he's probably running 3 employee strike in this deck, so I didn't think it was that great. Here, it probably would have been okay to res the turtlebacks, which I kind of wish I had done to get the extra credit. And right there, I just wanted to protect that agenda that I had put down earlier because I didn't want to run the risk of him running it. Having 4 counters is really good. A lot of these Steve decks, I imagine they run inside job, and so you need to be able to protect for that. So this, I was really playing on the edge of my seat here and just banking on the fact that he wasn't finding his code gate breaker. Now, my big misplay actually comes up here. Not actually this turn, but the following in another turn, in the next turn, because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to advance the successful field test and hope that I can. So here I installed this efficiency committee, and I think it was a little risky. And the reason why it was risky was, but at the same time it's not, because he's not checking remotes, so he could get it, he could not get it. Oftentimes I think runners, after they've done this for a while, they might start checking things because they kind of have to. So I put that efficiency committee with the risk of him stealing it, and it's only 1 in deck, so I can never use Lakshmi to protect it. So I kind of wish I hadn't installed it. It ends up benefiting me in the end, but at the time I really felt like I wish I hadn't installed that. So here I'm just going to score out my successful field test. This was actually a really bad play, and I want to just talk about real quick, is I installed the successful field test in server 10. I was assuming in my mind I had another successful field test in hand, and so I thought like, oh, I'll just protect it with Lakshmi and score again, right? I totally spaced that I didn't have a way to protect it, and I also didn't have a Jeeves to score it out. And so it was a total misplay. I should have never installed that. The better play, I think, here would have been to pop Moons and then install a bunch of stuff, because you're in a position where you just want to use that successful field test to just push things out on the board. Getting the moons counters is useful, but I think it's more valuable to actually do all of the installs. So I think that was my biggest misplay, was not popping the moons and installing the successful field test. I had 4 things to install, but it could have been more like 6 things or 7 things that I could have installed. I realized my mistake here, and I'm like, oh shoot, he's gonna steal some of this stuff. I drew up with the intent to see if I could pull another successful field test to protect, but I didn't. So I was kind of like, bummer. I was really nervous that he was going to go and try and check that efficiency committee, but he probably just assumed it was an agenda that I probably would have scored it already. When you're playing against these moon decks, I think you really need to be careful, and you need to be checking to see what's down, because a lot of ways they win is they will just spam you so much that they'll sneak agendas out. So now here I'm in a really good place because I've popped my moon. I have 2 Vitruviuses in hand, and this is where I do the Lakshmi play. So I want to get something to protect R&D. I also, because I don't want him to win off of that, I install a Jeeves that I want to protect because I don't want him to trash it, because I really need it to score. And I go ahead and I install the Vitruvius. So I have right now an efficiency committee and a Vitruvius on the board. If he runs the Vitruvius, my plan here is to res Lakshmi and protect it, because I can't really protect the efficiency committee. So if I protect the Vitruvius, I'm good. But if he doesn't run the efficiency committee, I'm in good shape. So what I do is I'm able to, the plan here is score out the efficiency committee. Then I have 2 more things that I can res to get Lakshmi counters, and I can then protect the Vitruvius for 1 more turn and score it out. So that allows me to score the efficiency committee, which I do here as I score the efficiency committee. And now I have another Lakshmi counter, and I'm going to have the ability to res 1 more thing to protect the Vitruvius, and I have a Jeeves on the board, which allows me to play clones or not people. So this is an easy way to clear out the game. In honest truth here, even with my big mistake, this is turn 7, and I'm already pretty much on game point, just because I had a really rock solid starting hand with the turtles and some good gear check ice. So here it's real simple. I just advance out and score and win. This was a pretty straightforward game. I think it was better in that instance to pop the moons so that when I was scoring out the successful field test, to get the extra installs. So when you're in this situation, let's talk about the good, better, best, right? So the best situation is you have 2 moons on the board, and 1 of them res, and you have a lot of counters. So you take all of the counters off. You draw a bunch of cards. You score this before you score the successful field test. You res your other moons, and then you install a bunch of stuff. That's the best. The second best, I think, would be, or the better would be, you pop the moon and then use a successful field test. I think the best would, the next thing, like, was it good? Oh, the good would be that you leave the moon down and then use a successful field test. I think it's all, there is probably some nuance on those last 2. It depends on how many cards that you have that you can install in hand and whatnot. But for the most part, I think it's good to have lots of things to install with a successful field test over getting more counters on moon. Well, thanks so much for listening to the Hacktivist and this episode of Reflections. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something new. Please provide me any feedback or any mistakes you saw that I made while I was playing. I know I saw a bunch, and I really appreciate all the people who've already reached out and shared some of the tips that I could improve. Thanks so much, and have a good rest of your day.